So this is just the rest of reflections. So concept zero is that when a beam of light comes in, like a laser beam or any ray of light, that the angle of incidence, angle of reflection are the same, right? Most people think that this is the angle of incidence and that's the angle of reflection. But in optics, they always use an angle that is perpendicular to the surface. And we'll use that later in refraction, right? So if a beam of light comes in like this, these guys are congruent, which of course makes these guys congruent because of some other thing in geometry, right? But that's what they talk about. And if the beam is going this way, then this is the incident angle and this is the reflected angle, okay? And then I think I showed you, didn't I show you guys this thing? The physics grooming mirror, right? So if you have a right angle corner, if these guys form a right angle, then a ray of light coming in like this, going to reflect and come out parallel. And I used to prove this. If you're really talented and gifted and also bored, right, that's TAGB, right, okay, you could actually prove this. It's not that hard to prove that if these angles are congruent, if that's our 90-degree angle, and these guys here are also congruent, that these two are parallel, right? I mean, my interest in geometry, did you guys do a lot of proofs in geometry? That was my favorite part. I loved that class, right? But anyway, you can prove that. I'm not going to prove it because I want to just show you. And I think, didn't I have you hold this up? And then I think Jennifer held it, right? And I'd shown the laser in, and the laser comes back along the path or something. You held it. Stevie did. All right, so sorry. Okay, I'll pass this around. What you can do is there's one thing here where you can hold it and you can look in. Don't drop it. It's glass. Okay, but there's a place here where you can look in and then put your hand on the right side of your head. And then the person in the mirror, of course, is putting their hand on their left side. I want to put these out in the hallway and just say physics grooming mirror. And people will stand in front of it and be like, you know, anyway, there it is. Okay. Okay, so other examples of these things, I love these, right? In Mount St. Helens, when Mount St. Helens was getting that huge zit on its face, right? You guys weren't even born yet, or were you, you know? But anyway, Mount St. Helens bulged and bulged, and what they did was they stuck these things called prisms on the mountain, or rather, as they say in academia, graduate students put these things called prisms up on the mountain as it bulged, right? And they shone laser beams on that, and they could measure the distance to that by basically counting wavelengths of light to the thing, right? And so as it bulged, they would get the laser beam reflected back. Surveyors use these things. They're called prisms. And the funny thing is that prism was made with masking tape and a packing block. So it's not very good. You can see the line right in the middle of it. But a professionally made prism is basically they take a perfectly cubic piece of glass, polish off one of the corners, and then silver the outside so you cannot see the crack in the middle. It's the weirdest thing. And so when you look into the prism, what do you see? Yourself. You see yourself. What part of yourself? Because the prisms are small. No? That's like Dr. Seuss, right? Those things. What part of yourself do you see?
Your face.
What part of your face? Your eye. You see your own eye. In fact, your left eye, I imagine, is seeing your left eye, and your right eye is seeing your right eye. And that's because, of course, prisms reflect light directly back on their path. So the only light you see in a prism is light that came directly into it in the direction it's coming out. And the only light that does that is the light that happens to reflect off your eyes. Isn't that weird? So I walk into this is the story, right? I go into the Mount St. Helens Visitors Center, and they have these prisms sitting out there on the counter. Well, they have one, right? And I'm running around. I've got like 5 minutes to check out this thing that I really should have sat there for like 2 hours checking out. But 5 minutes, what am I going to see, right? The worst case scenario. And I look and I'm like, there's a model of the mountain. There's a picture of the explosion. There's an eyeball. I keep moving, And I go back. There's an eyeball, and I look at the eyeball, and it looks very realistic. And then it blinks, or I see it blinking at the same time as me, and then I'm like, aha! I don't know. That's cool. Is that cool? I think it's cool. And then the other thing is, you can, if you go to Washington Square Mall, if you go outside Penny's, yes? You know where the kid playground is? Yeah, Crapperville or whatever they call it, right? Okay, the little kiddie playground there, if you go to the side of Penny's, on either side, I think there's mirrors in the walls, an architectural piece, and they're at right angles, aren't they? stand in front of those mirrors, you can, yeah, same thing, right? Okay, and if you stand a certain distance from the mirrors, you see, what do you see in each one of those pairs of mirrors? You see you. And if you go like this with your arms, you've got a chorus line of you. And you could just go, yeah, kind of a thing. Your kids, by the way, will have nothing to do with you if you do that, but it is what it is, you know. I don't know. Okay. There we go. So there we go, yes, all right, angle of reflection, right? If it's a rough surface, of course, this is why we don't see ourselves in rough surfaces, and that's because although the rays of light coming in might be parallel, right, they don't bounce off the surface parallel, they just bounce off in different directions. So Michael's jacket, even though, or his hoodie, even though it's black and it's not reflecting much light, it's reflecting some, right? It'd be kind of cool if it be like, you know, okay. It's reflecting some light, but I can't see myself in the jacket because it's rough, or the hoodie is, the fabric is rough, right? You know, but if it were a mirror, then if these rays stay parallel to each other, they'll make that image again, right? You can see yourself in the mirror. There we go. And then I think it's time to do a little field trip. 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 It's a field trip. A little field trip. It's a little field trip. All right, follow me. Suivez-moi, s'il vous plaît. Ne jouez pas avec ça, s'il vous plaît. No, here, stand right there. Stand right there. Because you guys will ruin my acoustics here. Come on out. Si vous pouvez écouter, this is just a beautiful place to sing. So when you see me out in the hall, where do I sing? Yeah, I sing right here, and the reason that I sing right here is that I think I sound pretty good right here. This place has a lot of self-monitor, and the reason it does is that it's got these corners. First it's got reflective surfaces, none of this nasty acoustic tile like the hallway. That's terrible. Acoustic tile should be banned, right? Okay. This place has some nice reverb, and it also has something called self-monitor. The sound coming from my voice goes up into these corners, and where does it go? Right back to me, and I hear myself, right? It's like singing in the shower. Yeah? Yeah? Or it's like playing with GarageBand. You ever do that? Put the headphones on, and like, ooh, I don't like this room I'm in, so you put a little reverb on, and you hear reverb, and you're like, ooh, that sounds pretty good, right? Okay, so this is my acoustically live place. The worst case scenario, I'm singing into just this corner, but even then I'm getting a lot of that back. Okay, come on. That's the Can we line up against the back wall, or should we not? We're just going to listen to the back wall. Is that okay? Will we be too disruptive?
We're talking and doing calendar planning.
Okay. Is that all right?
You just,
yeah. Line up against this wall. Put your ear against the... Put your ear against the wall.
So, no school day for the 10th, Veterans Day is the 11th, of a week of school, and then they
Do you guys hear that? Right, you don't hear anything. It's like absorptive service. Now put your other ear against the wall. That's weird, isn't it? What? I can't hear anything. Okay, let's go. Let's go. No cookies.